Hello, everyone. Welcome to another brand new episode of the Outlier Podcast. I've got Brian with me today. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Mid of Florida, having midweek blues, I would say. Waiting for the week to finish up very soon because that's what it has been for the last 3 weeks. But not to complain. Yeah, I've got a sunny day outside talking to Mr. Brian, so can't be better than that. So let me talk about who Brian is. I don't think Brian needs an introduction, but still. Brian is one of the credit union veterans, spent like 20 plus you know years in the ecosystem supporting the movement in the forefront, leading credit unions from the forefront. He's being a CEO earlier too. So currently Brian is the president and CEO of Dot Financial. Prior to joining Dot Financial, he was leading Flagler, right, for a few years, and then he joined Dot Financial and helping Dot Financial chart its path for growth, for the next path of growth, for the next path of strategy in the forefront. So, Brian, I know I might at times do a horrible job in introducing people. So if that was the same thing for you, please feel free to add if you want to add something.
No, I mean, I think you said it very, very well. So prior to Dort, I was at Hudson Valley in New York, which is about a $7 billion credit union. I've been in some smaller credit unions throughout the country, and just happy to be here today. So I appreciate that.
Sounds good. So, Brian, then let's quickly uh, start our episode, right? So
Absolutely.
there's the question that I ask everyone. And I love asking that question because I get asked the question a lot. So what keeps you going? Because CEO of a credit union of a large enough size, 24 hours is not enough for you. It's not enough for me also at times, I
Right.
feel. So what keeps you going?
I think it really goes back to why I fell in love with the credit union mission and and the mission of people helping people. There's a real satisfaction when you can help someone who, may have had trouble in the past or may be dealing with some issues currently, and getting them through and seeing them succeed in their financial journey. We spend a lot of time here at Dort Financial working with individuals of modest means. We also spend a lot of time working with children and teenagers and college-age students on preparing them for what their financial journey is going to look like. And, one thing that I think is really important is that no matter where you are in that journey, it's important to start the journey, right? And it's important to, really work to, live that American dream that everyone talks about. And if Dort Financial can play a small role in that in any way, we are so incredibly proud to do so. And so if that means we can get you your first car loan that gets you to and from work, if that means we can get you a credit card that you can earn points on as you learn to spend wisely and smartly, and you can use those points to get a gift card or buy a Christmas gift for someone. Anything that we can do to financially help you is truly important, and we build our products and services around that mission of people helping people. The other thing that I love about the credit union industry, and we put it on steroids here at Dort Financial, is the community involvement piece. So, one thing that we've created since I've been here at Dort is our community crew. And our team has volunteered over 2,200 hours back to the community. So when you talk about time, I had one employee who volunteered almost 40 hours last year alone, which is like a week of work if you think about it, right? And so you talk about keep going, where do you find the time? It truly amazes me that employees will find the time to be out in the community volunteering and helping out, their fellow neighbors. And to me, that really just, that passion that I can see in other people here at the credit union really keeps me going on a daily basis. To your point early in the podcast, you said we're in the midweek blues, right? We all experience that some days, and some days it's hard. You wake up and you put 2 feet down on the ground, and you think, all I want is a cup of coffee and to lay back in bed, right? And I have those moments too. But I think when it comes to the true passion of why we do what we do in this credit union industry, it drives me to get up and it drives me to get to the office, and it just puts a smile on my face every day.
I mean, that should be an answer that you talked about from a CEO of a credit union. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I have a follow-up question on it, right? So what led you to a career in credit unions, and what has your leadership journey look like so far?
Yeah, that's a really fun question. So actually, when I was in college, I was walking across campus and I saw an advertisement, or on a billboard or something, that said, where the campus-run or student-run credit union was looking for volunteer tellers. And so at that time, I was I was going to school, and I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to create a career in business, so why not start in banking and learning how to be a teller? And so I went to the informational meeting, and it was pretty simple, and it was a fun group of people, and it was a way to so not only did we do some work during the week, but we hung out on the weekends and had some fun in college.
Yep.
And through that process, I met an individual. His name is Tim Mislansky. He actually runs Right Pat Credit Union in Dayton, Ohio now. But at the time, I was the summer office manager for the student-run credit union on campus, and he was the professional oversight. And so he kind of got me interested, and at some point, we had a conversation about interning at a credit union in Hamilton, Ohio, where he was at originally. And I did that, and again, I just started to fall in love with the people, the mission, the values, and everything that it stood for. And so my career kind of progressed through. I interned there in their marketing department, and then I had a part-time position as I went through school. And from there, I graduated and was able to walk into a job at a small credit union in Dayton, Ohio, as a branch manager, having had that experience as an intern. And just kind of started to really be passionate about employees and employee growth and employee empowerment and employee engagement. And that really drove my management style. I think one of the most influential things that happened along the way is I received, I was at this credit union, I received a call to become a collections manager. And I had no idea how to do collections. I just didn't understand it or what it was. But the vice president of lending at the time said, I can train you. You have the skill to manage people. I can train you on the skill to be a collections manager. And that was where I learned that sometimes you have to take risks, right, in your career. And so I jumped in with both feet, became a collections manager, and then from there my career just continued to progress. Over my lifetime, I was called by several different recruiters and was recruited out to St. Louis and then over to New York and then back to Michigan. And again, each one of those is a leap of faith, right? Leaving the current credit union you're at and going to another one and taking on new responsibilities or more responsibilities. And it's just been a storybook career, if you will, that I feel very blessed to have been a part of, and feel very blessed about all those people that I've crossed paths with that I still keep in contact with along the way, and we still network together and we still talk. And it's just been really powerful to watch the credit union system come together and
That's very important.
yeah, and help each other out. It's been fun. I have more fun than I do not. So I just really enjoy what I do.
That's always interesting, right? So
Yeah.
now that brings me to a question of balance, because it's not easy to balance things.
Yeah.
So how do you balance Dot Financial's legacy with the need to innovate? Because we cannot be credit unions with the same mindset 30 years back.
Yeah.
Because now we compete, for lack of a better word. We've got Chime.
Yeah.
You can go to Chime and both of us can go to Chime and get a checking account in 2.5 minutes. I can go to a large bulge bracket bank or large Wall Street bank. Experiences matter.
Yeah.
Right? And going forward, experiences is table stakes. So how do you balance this? Because this, as a CEO, you have to take calls. That what makes sense, what does not make sense, what has to evolve, what does not have to evolve.
Yeah.
So what is your 2 cents on this?
I think it's really easy to get bogged down in the minutia of innovation and AI and those buzzwords. And, you talk about partnerships and fintechs, and, you hear all these words all day long, right? And to your point is, how do you drill down? I think for me, the really key point is we have our focus and our mission, right, and our strategy. And we build a strategy out for about 5 years, sometimes a little bit longer, and we have a kind of a long-term approach to some things. And really the question we have to answer is, does this partnership, does this fintech, does this strategy fit within that, long-term view?
Yep.
And if it does, we explore it. And if it doesn't, we immediately remove it from our radar. right? And so are we missing out on some things? Absolutely. We know that's a sacrifice we're willing to make, but are we really focused on how we can do what we do better? Absolutely. And that's the key is you have to know your strategy, and you have to know what your focus is, and you have to maintain that. It is so easy to have someone call me on the phone or send me an email or hit me up on LinkedIn and say, hey, I've got this great product or service. And I have to immediately eliminate some of those things, because otherwise it just goes back to our noise and our daily grind of it's not fun, right? It's not, you have to make it fun, and you have to stick with that strategy. And when you execute that well, you see success. When I came on board at Dort Financial, I have to give credit to the previous CEOs that were here, right? They set the credit union up over 72-year timeline to be a fantastic credit union. It was financially stable. It was doing very well. It had notoriety in the community. And all we did was take that and take it to the next level, right? And it was because of their history and because of their sacrifices or because of their hard work that we were able to do that. And so it's thinking, I can say it's thinking outside the box, but it really is just, hey, let's relook at our strategy. Let's build a strategy for the next 5 to 7 years, and let's stay just uber focused on that strategy. And, our strategy all along has been to look at our mission statement. And our mission statement is very simple. It's to enrich lives, members, communities, and employees. And so if it doesn't fit within those three things, those products and services, we just immediately remove them from our radar.
I mean, that actually makes sense. So aligning to what you're looking
Absolutely.
at.
I see a lot of leaders. I see a lot of leaders out there, and I don't want to, I won't mention anyone by name because I don't want to talk bad about them, but, they're always looking at the next best thing, and they're always trying to stay ahead of it. And, yes, Chime is out there, and yes, other things are out there, but if I stay true to my strategy, I am seeing exponential growth numbers and incredible value back to our membership. And I think our members appreciate it, and new members appreciate it very, very well.
Yeah, that makes sense, sir. Now, age-old question, right? I mean, might not be the best, but still I want to ask you. So what are the biggest challenges you think credit unions are facing nowadays? I mean, we can talk about 5 different things, but what are the top 2 challenges that you think we need to address?
I think the biggest things are, obviously we can talk about the taxation fight that's occurring in D.C. right now and has been for centuries, right, as credit unions existed. We can sit here and talk about all sorts of things, but, I think what we're lacking right now is, and this is a buzzword, and this is something the NCUA is looking at very strongly, is just executive retention and strategies and bringing people internally up through who want to work at a credit union, who understand that mission of a credit union and can stay focused. I really worry about the future. Not that I don't have really smart individuals working for us here at Dort, but, do they want to carry that legacy, and are they willing to make the sacrifices, and are they willing to be able to do that? You're seeing this weird convergence of 6 generations in the workforce right now, right? And it's insane how much different each one of those are. And so if your leaders lack the ability to communicate, if your leaders lack the ability to bring teams together, the success of the credit union in general is just not going to be there. So again, I think, we can focus on technology. That should always be something we focus on. But I think the real challenge is how do we continue to grow individual employees to be the next generation of leadership? And I think that's so important.
Yeah, that's table stakes. This is more important than digital transformation about which we are talking about. This is basic.
Yeah, here's how I look at it. If I can hire some 25-year-old that's been through this digital transformation and does everything on their cell phone, right, and understands that digital piece of it and how they operate, and they can build and help and align my digital strategy, that's important. But how do I get their voice heard? How do I get them to the office, some days to sit in my office and talk because they want to be remote? But how do I meet them where they're at? And I will tell you that I have many conversations outside of my office where I meet and talk to individuals at a coffee shop on their, or Zoom. But it's just relating to people. That 6 generations is really tough. It's different. And everyone operates differently. So meeting people where they are and not getting stuck in your own way, right? I mean, I have a certain way that I grew up doing business, and COVID was really hard for me when we were first remote. Now I've learned to embrace remote work, and I actually really enjoy it for not only myself, but for my teams. And, so we're kind of, we're not joining forces with some of the other big banks and credit unions in the industry where they're bringing everybody back to work. We're staying true to, remote and hybrid work. And I think it's vitally important because I think generations want that. We're showing that we trust our employees, which I think is important, that employees are appreciated. One thing I love to talk about is employee engagement and employee empowerment.
Yeah, I mean, you touched upon a very important part, employee engagement and employee empowerment. So that's very well taken, right?
Yeah.
We'll ask you a couple of more questions, because in the interest of time, I want to be respectful of your time. You blocked half an hour. One question is, again, I'm a geek, by the way. I mean, since you know me, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, I'm a data scientist. So I ask this question to everyone because I love talking about data.
Yeah.
So in what ways is Dort Financial using data to enhance experience and decision making? Because data has become like almost table stakes now. We cannot just go away with data.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with that?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So if we look at, all the data that we have on hand, right? So we have, we know when a member uses their debit card or has an automatic deposit into their account or an automatic withdrawal. We also know when they use a credit card. I mean, we can track what they use, how they use it, their movement of money. We have looked externally at several different partners when it comes to data and data analytics. And what we found is that not one company does it great. And so we have made the investment internally to do it ourselves. So we have hired, we've hired several data geeks. So we're creating our own data lake right now. And I use the word lake as in parentheses or in quotation marks there because we're going to build it ourselves because we know where all the data lies and we know that we have to integrate it and use it properly and we have to use it safely. The data that we have on any one individual is so powerful. And it's not big brotherish. It's helping them make the best financial decisions for their future. And isn't that enriching their lives? Again, going back to our original mission statement. And so we have made the very powerful decision, very expensive decision, to do it ourselves and to hire the right individuals, to build that data lake, to analyze the data, to pull that data out, and create, the strategies that we need from it.
Yeah, I mean that's what you need to look at. Maybe have an external partner help you, but you have to build this team inside your organization.
That's right.
You cannot depend on a consultant to come and. I mean, it's a very opposite of my job that I do. I'm a consultant, but I still strongly believe I can help you set up a journey, but you have to walk the journey yourself.
That's
you cannot outsource quote unquote data analytics to anyone else. You have to in-house it eventually. Absolutely. Yeah. That makes sense. So one quick question, actually the last question I want to ask you, that can you share a bold decision that you made as a CEO that had a significant impact? Definitely you take bold decisions every single day, but is there any specific discussion that you want to have?
I think for me as the CEO, probably the biggest decision I've made to date is, obviously there's been a couple. So let's talk about a growth decision. So a growth decision for us was to purchase a community bank down in Florida and operate as a separate division down there. So we have the Flagler Credit Union, a division of Dort Financial. Not only is that, a big, bold move, right, because you're down in a whole new market, 1,700 miles away from home, with individuals that you don't get to meet on a daily basis operating down in Florida. It's also a brand new demographic and marketplace. So understanding that, it was new for our marketing team to operate a separate division. So that was a big, bold move. I think the second big, bold move I've made is, I think CEOs a lot of times focus on member service. And they want to measure member service. They want to spend a lot of money on making sure our employees are giving the best member service possible. The decision I made coming in was I'm not going to focus on member service. I'm going to focus on employee engagement, and I'm going to focus on employee empowerment. My true belief is if employees are engaged and they're happy and they're empowered and they are living their best lives, that's going to show through when they serve our membership, right? That's going to show through when you walk into one of our branches or when you call us on the phone. And so my focus has been, let's make sure the employees have the best possible place to work. And that's not always salary dollars. It's not always, giveaways and free things, but it is providing them a great place to work with great benefits, a market-based salary, and really focusing on their well-being and enriching their
Mm-hmm.
life. And if we do
Mm-hmm.
that well, I know for a fact that when you walk into one of our branches, that Susie Teller is going to give you the best member service possible because she is happy at where she is, and this is the best place she's ever worked, and she never wants to leave.
Absolutely, Brian. I mean, you reminded me of a philosophy of a uh, huge conglomerate back in India. It's called the Tatas. They almost have like they're as big as I think 100 billion plus,
Mm-hmm.
right? So their philosophy is exactly the same. Take
Yeah.
care of your employees. Your
Yeah.
employees will take care of your
That's
consumers
right.
or customers.
That's
So
right.
that's exactly what you believe in, and it's amazing, Brian. That you think through the same way. I mean, similarly for me, if I tomorrow I want to start something of my own, most important thing are my people.
Yep.
Not taking care of them, I don't think anything can magically work.
That's right.
But Brian, this was great. This was great chatting today. A quick podcast with bunch of questions. But again, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining in. I mean, we really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me. I always appreciate talking to everyone about what we're doing and what we're having fun doing with our teams.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.